The
Every
other
mistake
side,
you make here is
mhm,
costly.
costly. Exactly.
Big money.
Hmm.
Big money. And by the time you recover from some big hits, it's too hard for you.
To fully
And this is
recover.
why I will use what the Bible says. It said there's safety in the midst of wise counsel.
That's right. That's
Rich
right.
people have advisors and directors and attorneys like you to give them the information to avoid the pitfalls.
Oh yeah.
Poor people get opinions,
Hmm.
and most opinions are biased. They spring from emotions. They have no depth, no scientific facts. They only feel. I don't want
Right.
to hear how you feel. Give me the facts. Give me
No.
data.
Real data. This afternoon, we're going to be talking about a very, very exciting topic, and we're going to be having a guest join us this afternoon. His name is Richard, and he is a certified life coach. We talk a lot about coming into Canada as an immigrant. We talk a lot about the journey, the various pathways, how you can actually fulfill that goal. By the way, before we begin, I will just make that disclaimer quite clear. You all know, if this is not the first time you're joining this live, please note that a solicitor-client relationship has not been created by mere virtue of you being present on this live this afternoon. Anything you hear here, anything we say, that's both for myself and Richard. It's strictly to be seen as and deemed as informational purposes only. We are not providing legal advice. I am
That's right.
Yanni Russell, and I am a lawyer. I'm also a licensed foreign worker recruiter, licensed by the province of Nova Scotia, licensed by the province of Ontario to provide legal services. In my law firm, I provide immigration, wills and estates, business, and family legal services. It
Mhm.
truly is my dream to ensure that whoever is coming into Canada as a newcomer, an immigrant, you're a temporary resident, then permanent resident, then citizen, you understand that through legal support, you are definitely able to capitalize on that support and use it really as a catalyst to attain whatever goals you have set out for yourself. We are joined this afternoon by the wonderful, the educated, the eloquent Richard. And I'll just go ahead and share a little bit about Richard for you. So Richard was born in Jamaica and he migrated to Canada in 1992. He
Mhm.
studied accounting briefly at George Brown College and then he pursued political science and sociology at York University, where he received a bachelor's degree with honors. He's a former board member of the Higher Marks Educational Advancement Foundation Incorporated and is now the director of the right is that Risen or Risen?
Reason.
Risen Trading and Life Coaching Program. He is a certified life coach. He has held various training sessions with individuals on how to trade on the stock market while guiding them on how they can structure their lives in becoming more accomplished. He's worked for the city of Toronto for the past 26 years. What an accomplishment. He has two children and is married to his lovely wife, Nadine. I
Thanks.
want to kickstart by just giving a general overview of how people become Canadians, right? It usually is a pathway of coming in temporarily, either to work or study, or simply applying from your home country as a permanent resident, right? When you obtain Canadian permanent residence, it really is an accomplishment for many because they set out with this goal in mind, right? To obtain
Yes.
dual citizenship. And first, getting that permanent residence is a stepping stone to becoming a Canadian citizen. But does it stop here? Does it end here? It ought not to, because when you set out to become a Canadian, it was surely to fulfill other objectives. And most of those objectives, Richard, I know they are entrenched in and hinged on overall financial goals, right? So this afternoon, what we want to talk about is what are some pathways, opportunities, vehicles really for Canadian permanent residents or even temporary residents. If you're here as a worker, you're here studying, how can you start building equity? Because you can't pass anything on. I don't want to put on my estates lawyer hat right now, but if you don't own something, like, you really can't pass it on. You can't pass on the job, your 9 to 5, to any of your dependents, right? So how can people who are looking to make the move, or those who are currently here, how can they start building equity?
Well, first and foremost, I'm going to fall back on my experience. I've learned a lot, I've made a lot of mistakes. But most persons who migrate to, say, Canada, United States, or they say the first world countries, they migrate for one purpose. They want a better life. One of the biggest disadvantage to most new immigrants is that we have no mentorship. We don't have anyone to say, okay, well, this is what you should do and this is what you should not do. The big mistake most immigrants make, whether they like it or not, is that because of survival reason they have to pay the bills, they jump straight into that first job. And the downfall to that is that if it's not a job that is, say, maybe highly unionized, or it guarantees them a good income, because at the end of the day, as a new immigrant, it's all about income. Make money so you can start invest that capital and build equity. Now, not having anyone to guide you get caught up in the first job. The problem with the first job, it hinges on what you call habits and become comfortable. And there's a saying in life that comfort is the enemy to success, which is dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
So you get here, you got to make the money, maybe want to send some back home, or you have to survive here. The point is that because of inflation, the cost of living has gone so high, that comfortable job is not really paying the bills, and you do not have any overflow to, say, invest in real estate, or, say, buy equity, or I would say, trade in the stock market.
Right.
Now, what I normally tell persons to do that is, okay, well, tell you what, you come here, you got to say, okay, well, what kind of field should I get in that will pay me, say, over $80,000 a year? And that can't even buy a house in Canada nowadays. So you got to say, okay, well, what are the needs? I always say that whether they like it or not, and it's no knock on Canadians, but Canadians really don't like to tap into the skilled trades. And I'm talking about men. If you're a new immigrant now, and I'm talking about females, is that because we had a pandemic and a lot of people resign, retire, and quit their jobs, there's a huge gap open now in the health industry, like nurses.
Oh, yeah.
And nurses make big money. Now, some people would say, okay, well, I don't want to do nursing, I don't want to do skilled trades. The question is, what are you really going to do to get the capital to start building equity? Now, what I would say as a new immigrant, because we come for money, don't do it like me. Don't have this long 20-something years where you had no guide. You can't do the marathon anymore. The whole playing field has changed. You have to do Usain Bolt sprints, especially if you're over 40. It's game over. Well, not really over, but it's like you now don't have enough time to play with. So how do you hit the ground running? Now, I'm going to go on based on Canadian stats. South Asians are the majority who are coming into Canada.
Right.
Based on their caste system, they don't really go in skilled trades. And if they go in the health sector, they go with doctors or certain practitioners. They don't really go in nursing. Now, for the other immigrants, say like us, or they may be different immigrants now, that's a huge field for us. Because they buy a lot of houses. Who got to fix their basement? Who got to do their plumbing? Who got to do the roof? Who got to do all those things? And let me say this to you, if whoever you're listening out there, AI is the new gorilla on the block. Most of the jobs, whether you like it or not, will be replaced by AI. I hope I'm not going too long.
No.
Because most of the jobs will be replaced by AI. AI almost cannot replace a tradesperson.
Right.
Now, my friend and I, he does HVAC and he also does plumbing. And let me say this to you. If I could go back around, I would do that as I hit this country.
Oh, yeah.
He has big money. House is paid off. And he doesn't really have to work. Now, when you put, say, global warming coming into play, and you got to cool your property into these cold countries, you see the importance of an HVAC technician?
Of course.
And you're not competing. And who can fire you?
Exactly. No, you've hit some salient points, and I just want to underscore them for listeners, viewers who joined maybe a few minutes after we began. It is critical for you to have a guide, a mentor, a coach, someone who has already taken the path
Been through it.
you intend to take. You cannot think, oh, I'll tough it out. I'll do the marathon, as Richard says. I'll find out the hurdles myself. I'll find out where the potholes are. You don't have
cost you. You don't have the time.
No. Exactly.
Give me data. Let me see the numbers.
Right.
And that's how I make informed decisions based on numbers. That is why they say in Jamaica, show me a company. I tell you who you are. Birds of the same feather flock together. And if you hang around fools, you become jackass. Sorry, did I put that in there?
I'm telling you, Richard.
Yes.
People can appreciate how much their lives can be transformed and just be catapulted if they simply hang on. You know, I keep saying your network is really your net worth. Like,
absolutely.
Hands down, right? If you can find what where do I want to go? Underline that, write it down. And who are some people who have achieved those exact goals that I can speak with, that, you know, can offer me some counsel, some guidance, some mentorship? You absolutely cannot fail because they have the formula. They have the formula.
Well, here's the downside to that, especially in our community. Most immigrants come here, we're on a treadmill. We're trying to make that dollar.
Oh, yeah.
So the ones with the debt, they don't have the time. And around my generation, many are not on social media to give the information because, you know, people are set in their ways.
Yes.
So that's the downfall. The other side to that is that for me as a male, for instance, you're talking to me. We're talking on a professional level. Most females I talk from neck up. We want a reason. Now, because we're in a society where, say, males like me are demonized of always the brute, want to shake the cherry tree. What happened is that you have many like me now who has a certain level of integrity, want to reach out now. But if I say hi to the female now, she get defensive right away.
Yeah.
And she's looking for the punchline. When is he going to bust a move? Wisdom shows that the abundance of a man's heart speaketh the tongue, and faith comes by hearing. So let me hear the person out for a few minutes, and let me see if I can pick up any intellectual nuggets. Stimulate my intellect. Don't just shut down conversation like that. That's being ignorant and stupid. Why do I say that? Because what happened is that when I go around persons is that I listen, I test the temperature. And one of the most powerful language in the Jewish community is listening. Meaning that when I come around you, I'm listening, I'm picking up sound bites. Let me see if this one has any depth. Or let me see if he or she's a buffoon. Because I want to be better now. One of the ladies when I just came here who helped me, she was a janitor. She had 2 properties. And she said to me, Richard, I am cleaning this floor, but I'm doing better than most of them in here.
Wow.
And she used to work for these Jewish people. She said when she go to the homes, she would clean, but she would always look at the library. That's why my house, I have a library. She said she would watch them and she would ask, Mrs. Stein, I want to invest. Can you tell me? And people are willing to teach you. So what happened? She did not let her status determine her stratus.
Yes.
She allowed her vocation situation to observe and pick the brain. And that is what made her better. So what happened is that when we get into an environment like this, we have to search out and find out who can I align myself with so I can get information. Let me say this to you. It is so critical, especially nowadays. It is severely critical for new immigrants to get the right information to get from point A to point B.
Yes.
And when you have persons like you and me who are giving it free, them need to run for it.
Grab it up. Grab it
Let
up.
me say this to you. Everything here is about paying the money.
Oh, yeah.
And let me tell you, when I will do it generously, most people won't do it. Now, you asked about equity. I don't want to keep blabbing along, but you asked about equity. So you have to get that particular job, whether you like it or not, because tell you what, if you don't have certain kind of skills or talents, you have to get that job. So the point is that find the job that can pay you a big income. You might not like it, but make you have a 5-year or 10-year plan. I'm saying this because those days that we came in are over. 5 years, 10-year plan. Because whether I like it or not, real estate is the foundation, the bedrock to build equity and also for the financial institution to really recognize you. You're invisible without that.
The wealth is in
They
the
don't even
land.
see you. You have no chips on the table.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you got to say, okay, well, I come here. Now, if you look in some of my TikTok videos, what happens is that if you understand the system, you can work around it, lose it as your advantage.
Oh, yeah.
There's a saying in life, Unique, that the system is designed by the rich for the rich. It is designed for them. So if you understand how to navigate through it, you can go through it very fast and accomplish your goals.
Yes.
Now, if you look at most of my TikTok videos, I'm close to the end of my time now where I want to transcend to different parts of the world. What I've learned that the standard of living in other parts of the world are so much better than in the first world. In the first world, you work like a mule until your back is broken.
Oh, boy.
That's how it's designed. The only reason why we have 41 million immigrants in Canada now because the baby boomers are retiring and you need labor replenishment. It's not because Canada likes immigrants. And they want immigrants because they want cheap labor. Now you must say that I am going to really trade my labor for a time, but can I really enjoy the good life like the Canadians who are on top of the heap? So you have to learn to segue and pivot. So I say that real estate is the vehicle to get that equity build up So if you want to say transcend and some go build your wealth elsewhere, or if you want to buy, say, franchise in Canada, or you want to buy second properties in Canada.
Right.
But
So
sorry.
So to interject, and my apologies, but I really want to underscore certain, solid points. One, tested, proven, assured vehicle to create equity is through real estate.
Always.
Yeah. The wealth is in the land is what I always say, right? And you come in, you understand the goal, but really their goal and their reason for inviting immigrants is it's null and void because you have your bigger goal in the back of your mind and you have your purpose, and it really
Absolutely.
it's a trade, right? So you're
Absolutely. It's a
coming,
trade-off.
it's a trade-off. So stick to your goal, but know that you are earning some money, getting capital to be able to build that equity through procuring real estate. And back over to you, Richard.
And you're absolutely right, because guess what? Say, for instance, you come at age 30, 35, 40, you will have maybe maximum 20 years to play the game. You run another time. I'm talking about the older immigrants. So you got to say, okay, well, what is my standard living going to be when I hit 60, 65? Now, the trade-off is that they brought you in for labor. The beautiful thing about that, because when the mind is stretched to a new level, it never goes back to the old self. And whether you like it or not, Canada, United States, and America, if you apply yourself, your mind will expand to dimensions you never thought possible.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So as you get that first role knowledge and you have the equity, you can say, all right, now, how can I take this equity out and duplicate it elsewhere?
That's
if you want a higher standard, if you want a higher standard of living. Or you can stay in the comfort of it and work for the next 25, 30 years. For me, I wouldn't do that.
Right.
I hope the government is not listening to me. I'm trying to chase away their labor replenishment.
Yeah, but younger generations will always come in to fill that gap. But we, the 35, 40-year-olds, you've got to be very prudent right now, right? And strategic in your approach.
And one of the things I would say to many immigrants, and it happens to many, is that one of the things that many of us lack from the developing world, we've never get recognized, and we believe that if we buy the material stuff, the shoes, the clothes, the cars, and we show, that signifies success.
Yes. Yes.
That is literal foolishness.
Hit
You're not
on
going to get
that
anywhere with it.
point. Hit on that point.
When I just came here, I used to wear nice suits, and I would go to Goodwill and Value Village and buy them.
Right.
You think I'm going to spend my money buy all of them suits? No, I can buy nice suits, but I used to do that.
Yeah.
I used to do that. Nobody will know. Because what happened is that I've been frugal with my money because I said, I'm coming to a place that I want to be better. I want to get to a particular point where I can relax and chill, but how am I going to get there? And let me tell you, Yannick, I bought my first house in this country when I was 22. By 25, I had two. By 25, I had two. And around 26, I had three. There was one in Jamaica. And let me say this, Yannick. Let me say this to you. You see, if I had the mentorship, I mean, I was doing it right because I knew real estate was real, but I didn't have the level of knowledge. That's why I hit university when I was around 28. I went to university to understand the game. Because what happened is that some have the knowledge in the community, they're not sharing it. Others have the knowledge and believe that if you achieve, you're going past them.
Yes. Yes.
Not knowing that rising tide lifts all boats.
Oh, yeah.
I remember when I was buying my second property, a family member said to me, when I asked him about how to get a mortgage, he said to me, oh, how come you just come in and move so fast?
Oh, wow. Wow.
One of my passion why you see I do these videos, I'm doing it because it's coming from a place of hurt and denial. It's coming from there. Because I believe that everyone should have a chance.
Yes.
I believe in that. And knowledge is the power, the vehicle to bring you there.
There you go.
And if I had it when I was younger to someone to show me and say, young man, X, Y, Z, so forth. I remember when I went to university, I was working downtown once, before I went to university. And I would sit back and read every day when I get a break. And it was a Jewish man says to me, I admire what you're doing every day, young man, because you read and God will always bring you to a different level of wisdom. And it did happen. Because he knew the power of knowledge.
Yes.
And he guided me, but my own thought that if I'm moving too fast, I'm going to pass him.
But there's abundance. If we believe in the Creator, then we know there is no lack.
In all, Yannick, saying this to you that I was watching a clip a while ago. 95% of your success is mindset.
Oh, yeah.
Right here.
Mm-hmm.
The way you think. 5% is the practice. What the mind can conceive, the body will achieve. So a man or a woman think it, so is he or her.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yannick, let me say this to you. This country, I would say Canada, United States, or England, these countries have wealth
Yes.
of knowledge. And it always behooves me, someone will be here 20, 30 years and there has not been any social, economic, or intellectual adjustment. It's a complete waste. You can go to almost any university in Canada or America and go sit in a lecture hall and learn about, say, maybe finance, economics, and they're not charging because they don't know you're in the lecture hall. You can go at most any library and rent a book. You don't have to go to the library. Just get one of those audio books. And just, when you ride around, just put it in your ears and learn. But one of the biggest, and I'm saying this to all immigrants who are watching this. When we migrate with our traditions. We migrate with our customs. We migrate with our norms.
Yeah.
And we migrate, listen carefully now, with our habits. Tradition and habits are the two worst, our biggest impediment to any success.
Oh, yeah.
Tradition is good until it makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
Listen carefully. Tradition is good until it makes any sense. For instance, if you ever walk and see some of those Middle Eastern people that would sit on the street on the bench and they have these beads counting the time. There's a tradition. It's learned behavior. And how is it doing those beads on your hand gonna better or build your intellect? Isn't reading a book would be much more better to build your intellect? So tradition is good until it makes no sense.
Right.
But the worst of all, Yannick, the worst of all, is something you call habits.
Oh.
Habits. Habits. I am in my early 50s. And I just did my, what I call it, my physical. And the reason why I did my physical, I want to know my alkaline level. I want to know my cholesterol level. I want to know my sugar level. I want to know my, I would say, vitamin D level. I want to know my PSA level. Why? Numbers don't lie.
That's right.
So when I know that in those numbers, I know what's happening in me.
Oh, yeah.
And I realize I love too much sweet stuff.
Come on, you need that berberine. Or some bitter
I'm
milk.
not talking about my wife. Every now and then I'll make a move and grab them of that sweet stuff. So our doctor said, my God, your sweet level has gone up. So now what I did, I have to go run.
Purge. You need a purge. We could talk about that, offline. But you are absolutely correct with
the reason why I said that, because my habits were so dominant.
Mm-hmm.
And biologically, because they're dominant, they literally start to cause my demise. So I have to recognize it and say, wait, no, I have to pivot. I have to pivot. I have to move. Yeah. Because if I don't move, you won't be talking to me.
Destruction. Yeah.
And that's everything in life. There's certain people that they come for a season time to move. There's certain kind of habits you used to do, kind of getaway. Certain things you have to just trim. Because where we are now, Yannick, you're male and female. We're at a different level now where we have been through this stuff in over 20 years. If we're communicating now, let's tickle each other and feed off each other. If I'm a man, I'm talking to you now and everything is okay, well, you know, how you look good. And I mean, seriously? Like, really? You get the idea?
Yeah.
Those are the things. And that's what we evolve as we go older. And no, you rile me up on some chat.
But no, you know, solid points. Data is
Yeah.
critical. It's important to pivot. You cannot remain with bad habits and not see
No.
them reflect in your life. So the key is to develop very good habits, whether
And be
they're
their slaves.
surrounding health, whether they're surrounding your personal development. On that
Absolutely.
note, I encourage you all to read Atomic Habits by James Best, I believe. Um, don't quote me on the author. Atomic Habits is the name. You can
The
find
title
it
is good enough.
in your books. Yeah, read that book. It will tell you all about how the body works and how habits are created and how they really impact the results you get in your life as you know it. But I do want to again come back to the point that yes, we are immigrants. You're immigrants in the UK, in Canada, in US. You went there with a purpose. And when James Clear, thank you so much for sharing. So when you went to that country, it was for a specific reason. You
Absolutely.
wanted to attain certain goals, and for you, you
Absolutely.
would have painted what success looks like in your mind or documented it in your journals. Ensure that you're heading back to whatever you wrote down as what that success looks like, and do
Absolutely.
not forget that the vehicle to obtain that success is through equity creation. How do you build equity? How do you build equity? Real estate and through stocks, but tested, tried, proven way is real estate. Yes, yes,
Well,
yes, Richard.
let me add something there is that not everyone going to have a down payment right now to buy real estate. But something when it comes to consistency with investments is that, for instance, okay, well, you start a good job, you're making good money, you have a low cash flow.
Right.
Don't put the money in savings account and don't put the money in checking account. You're not going to get anywhere with that.
That's right.
You have to find, and this will talk about open up an investment account. I just talked to my personal bank. I'm going to build up a TikTok channel and a YouTube because he has a depth of knowledge and he's about to retire. So I said, you have to pass it on to people. So I'm going to help him to build up one. And then I'll link him to my group so people can start to get that information.
Right.
Is that what happened is that you have to learn to put in a consistent base, maybe $200 a week or $500 a week, whatever you can afford, and start to put in an investment vehicle that will generate, that will allow your money to start working for you. It is so important because I said we've been brainwashed until we put the money in savings account or checking account. This is complete foolishness. We ain't getting away with that. So when you put those money in that investment vehicle, now that money can start working for you. For instance, Nvidia 2 years ago, my buddy told me about Nvidia stock. Nvidia was 200. I said, it's a rich Nvidia. My buddy told me the stock gonna blow. Yannick, I was trading. I was not investing. As I came out of trading and started investing back over. If I put 20 grand of that money and I said, just sit on Nvidia at $200, I'd have $1 million right now.
Wow. Delays danger.
You see, so what happened is that we have to do our homework now. For persons who are coming, I'm going to give them a tip now. I made a video, but I haven't edited yet. Now, between every, say, 7 to 9 years, there's always a stock market crash. look at the history of the stock market, where since the last one, 2020, we're in about, say, 4 years now, we're about maybe 2.5, 3 years, depends. So now when this interest rate start to fall down, you're getting close to what you call a crash. And it's not really, say, a crash. It's just the ones at the top pulling out the rug from under everybody else.
Okay, okay.
It's just how it works. From once the upper middle class start to rise and leverage themselves big, like a lot of properties, eventually after a while they pull out the rug and reset the clock.
Right.
In the midst of devastation, cash is king.
Ah, yes.
In the midst of devastation, money doesn't disappear. While the big whales sit at the top with a ton of cash, and they pull out the rug, and then the small guys start to fall, they go and just gobble them up. And that's how they become richer and richer.
And a lot of
So,
businesses will hit the market at that point for sale. So if you want to start buying businesses too, guys, start looking.
yeah.
Now is the time.
So right there now, what you do now, I'm giving them this tip is that while you have your money working for you in simple account, and for instance, open an investment account is good, but you also have to pay attention, read on the markets, read on global events, because market goes up and market goes down, there's no guarantee. But for long term, if you're consistent, you more than likely will win. So what you do is that you try to put away some money.
Right.
If you have a, say, 5-year plan, because when that market buckles again and you have like 100 grand or maybe equity in your house, they say, be greedy when others are fearful and be fearful when others are greedy. So you wait till the fire burn and ashes and people screaming. And that's when you're moving on the big chips,
That's
like the Microsoft and the Google and the banks. You're moving. And you just sit there for a few more years. All right, think 2020 when the market fell. The market was about 29,000. The Dow was 29,000.
right.
And when it fell, I think it fell down to 20-something thousand. Look at the Dow now, hit over 40,000. Now, if you buy, say, index, if you buy the index,
Right.
and if you had bought, say Visa or Microsoft when it fell then,
You'd be good.
but when there's chaos like that, the masses are fearful. They think the world is falling, it collapsing. People with wisdom and no numbers and no stats, that's when they go for the kill.
Oh yeah.
So for the person who maybe want to allow their money to work for them, pull up some nest egg. When you make big capital now, this is when you go over to real estate and maybe franchises. Because at the end of the day, there's two ways in life, two guarantees ways in life to get rich. One is having money work for you, investments, and number two, people working for your business. Let me answer that simple. If you're in Canada or United States, in Canada, you have Scotia iTrade, you have Investors Edge at CBIC, you have TD, and you have Royal. All of those banks have investments account, an investment account that you can buy and trade your stocks. Now you have the cash account with margins, meaning that for the cash account, is to open up a trading account, you buy and sell stocks in it, but you pay taxes on the capital gains that you make. And then the government put up capital gains of 66%. No, 66, meaning that the first 50% of that capital gains is taxed. But they move that 15 out to 66%. So it's not a whole lot, but it's a scarism. But
Yeah,
so what happened is that you have a cash account, then you have a registered account. Now, this is the sweet one. The registered account is where you can take your TFSA in Canada and you can put that one, invest it in the registered account. You don't pay taxes on the capital gains. And you can put your RRSP in there. Say, for instance, okay, well, Google goes on to maybe $100. It's $182 now because I buy Google. If it goes on the $100 now, you say put $10,000 in there now. You just sit now. In no time, your money gonna be $30,000 because Google is a monster. It's not gonna go anywhere.
Right.
So that's how you do it. So there are two accounts. So you can go there, and here's the issue now. I'm gonna say this to you. Many of those institutions are not telling the immigrants or the average folks, the average poor folks, how to open an investment account. They don't tell you that.
Oh boy. And that's why it's important that they find the resources and the information through mentors. Connect
They
with,
will not tell you.
yeah, connect with people
So
who
you really
can
don't know
guide
what you're
you.
doing. The
Yeah.
idea we've been brainwashed that, okay, put your money in the account, in the savings account, checking account. You ever look at your checking account or saving account and see what interest rate you got on it lately?
Oh, geez.
0.1% or
Oh, geez. Nothing.
now with the investment account, as I said, that you have to pay attention. So you don't rush and go buy because open an investment account. No. You have it open. You have to look and do your research now. Which market is good? Listen to. You have a person who can read the financial statements of companies.
Yep.
Say, for instance, again, I have say Microsoft missed their quarter. They're 400 and almost $500 US dollars a share now. Say, for instance, missed their quarter. You listen to why they missed their quarter. Because some investors gonna sell. When they sell now, you say, okay, well, I got a 10,000 I can put in here because I'm buying on the low. You wait for a few weeks and it's gonna go back up again. It's a knee-jerk reaction because the company is strong. So that's how you buy and if you want to sell. So those two accounts now, if you're in Jamaica, you have JMMB and you have Sagicor. Those are companies that you buy your stocks to. You can buy in the local stock exchange. I am not sure. I think they had an agreement with the NYSE. They can buy the stocks through those platforms. I'm not sure about it. Right. You have other platforms like Quest Trade. You can go on Quest Trade. You can go on the app and find Quest Trade. You can buy on Quest Trade. They have their own account. And you have also Webull. Webull is a good app. You can download Webull and you can set up and have your account there and do that. So you can buy and sell almost anywhere you go.
That's right.
So those are the ways you can set up. And
Wealth Simple. I'm sorry. Nurse Gabby is saying Wealth Simple.
Oh, absolutely. You can do those things. So you have to find what works for you. What you need to do is to start. And what you do, YouTube has a lot of good experts, like certified financial planners. They're very good in reading the financial statements. So if you're in a company and say you like that company, don't just go and buy the company because you feel. Well, if you get an insider tip, then you go and buy it. But I didn't say that. So what happened, because it's illegal, I didn't say that. I said, if you. So what happened is that from once you get the proper information from the experts, then you assess the company and then you buy the company. You don't want to lose your money. But I would say start small, learn the game, but put the bulk of your money aside for when the big collapse happen.
Right. Which is inevitable.
It will happen.
It will happen.
The key to it, are we patient enough to wait? Now, let me say this to you because we're going to go quick. Now, when it comes to real estate, now, interest rate in Canada is falling. So it's a pendulum. While it falls, the price of house is going up. People say house is expensive. Yeah, now they don't really wait until interest rates start falling. It's going to be more. It's going to be tough, but that's beside the point. But while your house value going up, I would advise, I do it, go and take a bulk of equity line and make it sit. You don't have to use it. You only pay your interest payment when you use it.
Exactly. That's something they don't understand too. You know, you're getting your line of credit. You're only paying interest when you deduct from it. And I absolutely love that point about leveraging other people.
Yeah, you let it sit. You're not using it. Right. You park it there. That when an opportunity comes, you have access to quick cash.
Yes.
But here's the point now. Say, for instance, now interest rate gone down to 3%. Your house price going to go up maybe another $200,000-300,000. Are you going to sit and let that equity just sit in the house like that? And if interest rate go back up, it goes down? No.
Oh, boy.
You take the equity, you park the equity. Just for opportunities.
Cash will be king.
No. As interest rate goes down in your value, you always go up. Park the equity because you know eventually the recession going to come.
Exactly.
And when the recession comes, you move the equity right over now into the blue chips, boys. You make your money now, then you pay off your house now, and then you have more for the business. Can I get the idea?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's not rocket science.
And when it's not, but listen, without, the Bible said, for lack of vision, right? And knowledge, the people perish, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
when you don't know what you don't know either,
yeah, yeah.
so it is critical again for persons to be very curious. Try to
Mhm.
figure things out. Try to align yourselves with individuals that are giving this sort of insight, knowledge,
Yeah,
information, right? And once you lock onto the information, please know, do not sit on it because you've got to apply the knowledge. Knowledge is not
yeah,
power. Knowledge is
yeah,
just latent
yeah.
power. It has potential. You've got to
Yes.
apply what you've learned,
Applicable, yeah,
yeah, to be able to, reap from what
yeah,
you have
yeah.
gathered as
Yeah,
information.
and as like we said at the onset is that the key when you migrate is to find a vocation that can pay you good money.
Yeah,
Don't do a job because you like. You're coming to make money, and money you come to make.
that's your goal.
And the
That's
bank not gonna recognize you until you have a good paying job and they see your history.
there you go. There you
And when
go.
you do that now, remember your goal is a 5 year, 10 year goal.
Mhm.
And from once you get to know how to work the system, then you can relax soon and enjoy the good life.
Exactly. Because you
It's
ought
not
to,
hard.
you ought to
Absolutely.
enjoy the fruits of your labor,
There
right?
you go. And it
And
doesn't mean you have to always pick in the fruits.
right, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And when you have that plan, ensure that you are documenting it, right? Write it down, make the vision plain. If we
Make it
are
clean.
abiding by certain principles, like we cannot go wrong, right?
No.
So, it's the 155 mark. This has been quite an enlightening and just, really energizing information. I like to talk about these things because,
Yeah.
as I said, it's really what it's hidden. For some reason, it's like it's there in the open, but our people do not have this level of insight.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
true.
may have to invite you again for
Sure, sure.
another of these sessions. But
And it's the first time I've ever done this because I never knew. I'm old head, so I don't know the two tech. I mean, now I
yeah,
know.
I'm happy. I'm very happy. I reached out and asked you to
Yeah.
share some of your time. Your time is your most critical asset. So again, we don't take it for granted. There are
Not a
several
problem.
questions, but the most important: do you offer one-on-one coaching
Yeah,
on?
I do that. To be frank with you, Yannick, I am busy. I'm not too busy for myself, but I do
So
offer that, and
reach out to Richard. His handle is Jam Can. You can find him
Jam
right
can
here
too.
on TikTok. And you
Yeah.
can go ahead and watch some of his videos. I'm telling you, you will learn a lot. If you had questions here that I didn't get to, my sincere apologies. But we do have to honor Richard's time. It really has been a pleasure. I'm sure you learned a lot just by staying here with us this last couple of minutes, and he'll be back. You heard it from him.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank you so
yeah,
much.
yeah. You're welcome, Yannick, and to everyone. Hey, appreciate that. I hope I made some sense. Sometimes I lose it every now and then, but I keep going. Yeah.
Oh yeah, River said he is the best. I'm seeing Simply Sharon, Chris. You're gonna get a lot of direct messages now. People appreciate this information. They're happy. Lots of good messages. So
And just want to add to you that if they're in Toronto,
mhm.
they need to come and see you. I believe that you kind of fit the mold that will help them to get where they want to get. You're hanging around with the right people. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I mean, we have the vision, and we have definitely put our shoulders to the wheel to achieve that mission. Wealth
Yes.
creation and then wealth preservation. Because I will be back to talk about estate planning. Because when you've
Yeah.
procured all that property and built all that equity, it's absolutely no sense without strategic estate planning.
And you
Right?
know what you need? You know what
Yeah.
you need? $4 trillion is moving from the baby boomers in Canada down to the millennials. In America, it's
Whew.
100. In America, it's $100 trillion moving from the millennials, from the baby boomers to the millennials. And
Whew.
guess what?
Did you
And guess
hear
what?
that?
And guess what? We're not getting none yet, you know.
Not yet.
Because the problem is that, as you mentioned, we didn't have the estate
Mm.
to do the planning.
We're gonna be touching on creating trust, building holding companies. You know, you
Yes.
you want to be staying in the space to learn. I'm going to be delving deep into estate planning. What are some mechanisms to ensure that all this wealth we're going to be creating gets passed down to your dependents? I know somebody asked me about the waterfall mechanism that Rockefeller used. We'll talk about that and trust in another live session. But again,
Yes.
it has been great. Lots of information shared. And Richard, we will schedule another time to talk with these viewers. Yes,
Absolutely.
we are in Canada, we're in Toronto. So see you soon. Take care, everyone.
Peace out.